Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Merry Monday Mail Call Show. I always get that wrong at the moment. I'm still going to get there, but welcome anyway. It's good to see you all. This is still only for 35 cents, live on a Monday morning from Australia. And it is my weekly show where I take you through the books that I've managed to pick up. And I'm just going to add this to the main stage. There you go. You can see me in all my glory and some other glory that we have here. Before we get started, usual stuff. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please feel free to leave a comment on any of the books that you see. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell for future content. We're here every week. We're doing a live video, as I say, and this live video will primarily be me sharing with you books that I've picked up. This week, we've got a bit of a monster haul. Went back to the UK and managed to pick up a whole heap of my collection that was sitting at my parents' house. And so I grabbed that, brought it back with me, and I've got it to share with you today. So there's a whole heap of really interesting stuff. We might not get a chance to go through everything in detail, but there's a whole plethora of different sort of items, and one of these you can potentially see here. That I wanted to take you through. Now I'm just going to adjust the camera slightly, see if I can get this to. No, that's not going to work. We'll probably just leave it as is for now, so you can see exactly what's happening. I do have the other camera set up so we can sort of go through some of the books, and those that have been on the channel before will recognize the overhead cam where we can go through some comics that I've picked up and give you a bit of a closer look rather than me just going, here's a book I bought. So today, this is not a book that I bought, and I keep teasing everyone with this. So, a bit of background on this one. I am a monster Rom the Space Knight fan, and I've been after a Rom the Space Knight figure for a while, and I picked one up at an auction a few months ago, and this has been waiting for me at my collection at my parents' house, and so I was able to pick it up. Now this came with me all the way back from the UK, and it was wrapped in bubble wrap, and it's a beautifully presented original box. Now, a bit of history on this. Let me just bring it up so you can see it. So this is the actual Rom the Space Knight figure, but this one was 2 years later and was produced by Palitoy under license, under the Action Man banner and brand, alongside the Action Man Space Rangers, which was trying to cash in on the whole Star Wars piece. And so they basically brought Rom into the fold 2 years, I believe, after the original Rom figure had been released in the US. What you get with this is you get this beautiful box. I do have the other box here with me for the US edition, the Parker Brothers one, who originally made the Rom the Space Knight figure. But this is in beautiful condition. There's some slight damage, as you can see here, to the box that I can sort of get out. And there's some, the odd bit of sort of tearing, not tearing, but more sort of like bending. There's a few little bits and pieces here. But you get the impression that it's in really good shape. For a toy from 1979, and there's Rom in all his glory inside the packaging still, so it still has all the original packaging, pretty good shape considering. So this is a great toy, not only for Rom collectors but for Action Man collectors as well. So it's a fascinating piece where they brought this in. This is a slightly bigger figure than you would find from Action Man range normally. And those of you who haven't seen a Rom figure in its glory, it was pretty limited for its time. This is my US one, which comes in its box isn't great and it doesn't have all the accessories. But as you can see here, I do have the original Rom figure, and he's got his nice wobbly leg here. But this is a great little piece to have to show alongside your Rom the Space Knight comic books, of which I have a few. In fact, the entire run in Raw and a number of graded books. Love to see this character in the MCU in some way, or just reinvigorated in the Marvel, even in Marvel Comics. Just but licensing does not allow, unfortunately. I think Hasbro own the rights to this at the moment. So this little beauty of a figure doesn't do too much. Its legs move. That's about it. And its arms move up and down. And that's right about it. But the real beauty of the ROM Space Knight action figure is its electronics. So I mean, I can't really show you the electronics now because I don't have a battery inside. Let me just see if I do. No, don't have a battery inside. But the idea is that Rom would light up, his eyes light up, he breathes, so his respirator lights turn on, and his jetpack lights up. And then in addition to that, he has a number of accessories, which I can show you on the box here. And we'll do a deeper dive on ROM because I think it's worthwhile a better video in terms of understanding where it came from and the comic book as well. But we'll just cover that. But you can see here you got lights for the head, 2 red LEDs, 2 red LEDs for the jetpack. Then you've got the chest plate when the respirator goes. And then you've got the universal translator, which allows ROM to understand alien races. Then you've got the analyzer, which tells you whether someone's good or bad. And in the case of the comics, whether they were a die wraith or not. And then the neutralizer, which sends whichever creature into limbo. So yeah, this is pretty cool stuff. As you can see here, the box is pretty, like very, very well laid out. Beautiful sort of typeface, beautiful sort of design they put on this box. And yeah, I'm super happy to get this. As I say, it came with me all the way from the UK. And it was I was trying to make sure I didn't sort of damage the box. So this was like carry on the whole time. But fantastic to have this in the collection to go alongside my US ROM. So this one will sit next to here. But yeah, I just love this action figure. And at some point we'll do a deeper dive video on the whole ROM action figure series. Series, I say. There's only one character in it. And I'll give you a sense. Might even crack the box open and see what the actual electronics look like. So maybe with that, we'll switch to the books that I got over the last couple of weeks back from that collection. So I'm just going to bring up the usual video screen so you can see the books. Let's just turn. That's better. Okay, and then I need to add stage and do that. Okay, and hello to everyone who's watching, by the way. I haven't had a chance, and there's no one in the chat that I can see right now, but welcome. It's good to see you. So I wanted to start off with these 3. Now, I did share these briefly with the team on Mad Spidey stream yesterday, and I've done a little bit of digging on these. So these are Whitman variant 3-packs of Star Wars issue 1 to 9. Now, there were 2 different variants of this pack, apparently. These are and you can see possibly here, these are the Whitman reprint Diamond Indicia version. So I won't be cracking these open. I was debating whether or not I crack these open and slab them. I'm going to leave them as they are because I think they're a marvelous piece of history. Dino, great to see you. Welcome, Dino. It's great to have you on the show and great to sort of have you join. Any questions, please shout out in the chat as we go. Hopefully there's a few books in here that will pique your interest. Certainly a few interesting ones that I haven't seen before, some really early. So let's take that down there. So you have issue 1 to 3 of Star Wars in this amazing poly bag. And again, these are all the Whitman reprints. So you have the little Whitman reprint logo on the side here. You can probably see it just as I move the bag. So that's 1 to 3. Then I also grabbed through 4 to 6. And 6 is in the middle here. So you get that. And then the last one is the 7 to 9. And in this one, you get the new type, all new stories not seen in the movie, and the Whitman logo at the bottom. This one doesn't have a reprint because I don't think it was a reprint. So this is just purely the plain Whitman edition. I do know that Whitman editions are sort of becoming a little bit more sought after. So again, holding on to these, this is a nice piece of history. I do have Star Wars 1 through 9 in my collection, but this is, I love these polybags and I love maintaining the history of these. So these will go in the collection. I'll bag and board them I'll get probably a Golden Age bag and board and pop them in there. And yeah, that'll be a nice little piece to add into the Raw collection to start. So let's talk about, maybe we'll kick off with the books that I got from, now these are all moderns, and I thought I'd start with the moderns and then we'll work backwards because it's pretty, there's a lot of books that are, yeah, as I say, this is just my normal pickup from, basically from, I think Future Past Vintage Collectibles. Also, I got some from John at Bronze and Modern Gods, one of his recent claim sales too. So this is a bit of a weird mix of those. We'll take you through it and see what you think. So the first one off the list is an Infinity Gauntlet crossover issue of Silver Surfer. Again, I think I already have this, but this is a reasonably high grade. I think I got this in a giveaway from John. But yeah, love having this. I love Silver Surfer, this part of the Silver Surfer run. So great to have that. Even if I already have a copy, I think this one will possibly replace that one. Next up is Charlton Comics Ghost Manor. I don't know too much about this title, but I think this is the Ditko cover from the looks of it. You may know from some of my other streams, I've been doing collecting a lot of Charlton books recently, especially in high grade. I got a penchant for just, outside of the big two. And I think Charlton did have some great sort of creators in terms of John Byrne and Steve Ditko working for them in this era. So I wanted to sort of start collecting these. So getting this, it's a near mint minus. This is one of the Future Past Vintage Collectibles that I got. So yeah, that's going in the PC. Potentially might grade that. I'll have a look, see what's on the census. Dino, always a conundrum whether to remove books from polybags. Sometimes I worry about the long-term health of books inside. I agree. Absolutely agree. And you can see, I think I'm more worried about the deterioration of the actual polybag more than the book, because they're not sticking to the book in any way, which is interesting. But you can see here sort of like this price ticket is sort of degrading on the plastic where it has come in touch with it. So it is a bit of a conundrum. I agree with you. Not entirely sure what I'll do. And at the moment, I'm happy to leave them in, but I may revisit that as we go. But you can see here there's some damage in terms of where the book has been in contact with other parts of plastic and it's peeled off. So yeah, we'll see. But if I can keep and maintain them as best as possible, great. It would be wonderful if CGC did grade these in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I'd just be loath to lose a little bit of the history of these books. And I think with the Whitmans, I can afford to sort of, take that risk a little bit. So, but I do agree with you, Dino. I do. It's a tricky one to sort of manage. Next up is two books. Now, this I got from a UK auction, and I was hoping that they would be reasonably good quality. They are in good, I say, grade state. However, they do have some issues in terms of foxing, which you can probably see down here. So other than the foxing, they're in really great shape. And again, I wanted to get these purely because the Creature Commandos in both of these. I think this is the first and second appearance of the Creature Commandos. And so I wanted to get these because, when James Gunn does put out Creature Commandos, wanted to be able to have copies of these. So not sure yet what I'm going to do with them. I don't think I'm going to grade them given the fact that they've got that sort of slight foxing. I might see if I can sort of treat them, see if there's any way that can be got rid of. Because other than that, they're absolutely beautiful copies. But yeah, well, first things first, I'm going to take them out of the bag and give them a bit of good old read and see what all the fuss is about, because clearly it inspired our man James Gunn. This one is Marvel Tales 192. Now, this was a giveaway I won at Future Past Vintage Collectibles. And this is a fantastic cover with that logo of the day Gwen Stacy died. So it's a great, I think it's a lovely issue and a nice issue to get as a giveaway. It's in pretty good shape. There's a couple of spine ticks here. Don't think I'll get it graded, but it's excellent to go in the PC. So happy with that one. Hadn't had that one. Then I've got a Captain America 354. This is I think first appearance of US Agent proper. John Walker as US Agent. This isn't super high grade. It's got a little bit of damage at the bottom here. I knew about that when I purchased it from John, Bronze and Modern Gods. But happy to have that in the collection just as a reader anyway. So that'll sit in the PC. It's in lovely, beautiful Mylar. John lovely presented it very, very well. And then to go with that, we've got the new Captain America, John Walker as the new Captain America and Bucky. So this is issue 334. Again, not in super great shape. I think it's like a 9.2. Don't think I'll get it submitted. But yeah, great book to have and lovely to sort of to start filling out that Captain America run. Next up is a whole bunch of Marvel Comics Presents. I'm trying to complete this run. It was a massive run. I think over 200 issues. So I'm sort of up to around about 140, 150. And so I'm just filling in the gaps now with some of these. So these are mostly gap fillers. So you've got Marvel Comics Presents issue 2. This is a Near Mint Plus. This is from Future Past Vintage Collectibles. Issue 5, Near Mint Plus. Again, nice looking book. This one I didn't have, so this is definitely a part of the filler. So Marvel Comics Presents 24, featuring Havoc and Cyclops side by side. Near Mint Plus. X-Men's Havoc, Marvel Comics Presents 25. Again, that's a Near Mint Plus. X-Men's Havoc, Marvel Comics Presents 26, alongside Cold Blood. First appearance Cold Blood, another Near Mint Plus. Then we have Marvel Comics Presents 28, another X-Men Havoc cover, Near Mint. And then Marvel Comics Presents 29, with Havoc again, and a nice Wolverine cover there, Near Mint minus. And then Marvel Comics Presents 30, again with Havoc and Wolverine, Near Mint plus. So that'll be nice to sort of fill out that Marvel Comics Presents collection. Then next on the list, we've got the Mighty Thor issue 373. This is the 25th anniversary cover edition with a great Walt Simonson bearded Thor on there. I think the art inside is actually Sal Buscema, not Walt Simonson, but the story was by Walt. So a great book. As I say, I'm slowly but surely working my way through the 25th anniversary covers as a sort of collecting goal. This one you've probably seen before and is a duplicate, but I'm always partial to this John Byrne cover, and I may see if Mr. Aiken is still has this has a gap for this in his collection, because I may send this to him, given I've got like 3 copies of this now. But it's got a stunning, amazing John Byrne front cover for the first issue of Secret Wars 2. Near mint copy. Inside, I think the art is by Al Milgrom, and maybe the inks are by Terry Austin in this one. One of these is where Al Milgram's inks are Al Milgram's been inked by, I believe it was Terry Austin, and then it actually does really add another level to his art. So very happy to get that, even if it is a duplicate. This one I picked up at Baltimore Comic Con on the way back. And I've been looking, I'm now missing only one of these Tales of the New Teen Titans series, which I believe is the Raven issue. I'm still looking for that one. Again, this one is in super high grade, so I had to pick it up when I saw it. I think it was $20, and they were offering half price off all of their books. So I snapped this one up because it was missing from my collection. Excuse me. So I wanted to grab that one. Again, super happy. This one I was missing from the collection, an Iron Man Annual number 10 from the Atlantis Attacks series with the Bob Layton cover. So that's a great one to add to the PC. And then we have a whole heap of Daredevil. Some of these I already have, some of these I don't, but these are in very, very, very high grade. This one, by the way, was near mint plus, so gradable copy for sure. Then we've got Daredevil. These again were all from Future Past Vintage Collectibles. Near mint minus. So this is a gradable copy. This one I wanted because it's the Fall of the Mutants tie-in. I was a huge, huge fan of the Fall of the Mutants storyline. Just loved it. Fantastic storyline with the death of the X-Men, with the death of with the kickoff of Excalibur. It was an end of an era type storyline. I wasn't too sure or wasn't too happy with where the story went after that for a while. But the general idea of all the mutants befalling some form of issue, in particular the New Mutants, where we saw Doug Ramsey unfortunately pass in one of those issues. It's one of my favorite runs, and the lead up to it was fantastic. So having a Daredevil issue that was a crossover, fantastic. Issue 268, near mint plus. Again, you can see that the quality of these copies, they're superb presenting. 269, Pyro and the Blob. And the thing that's interesting about Daredevil and the crossovers, so Ann Nocenti, who was writing this, was previously a editor at the X-Men titles. And so she brought in a lot of that, a lot of those characters, and she actually supported a lot of the tie-ins because obviously she had that knowledge and care for the characters. So you'll tend to see a lot of crossovers in the Daredevil titles with the X titles during that period. So again, this Blob and Pyro issue is a good example of that. Then issue 271, beautiful looking copy, near mint mint. So that should, in theory, grade a 9.8. And the thing that's great about when Rachel and Dave from Future Past Vintage Collectibles send these books out, right, when they think they're a 9.8 candidate, they actually put in a backing board. And I don't know if you can see this. They put a backing board in the book as well, in the mid section, to protect the spine and to protect the staples. So if you see one with, and if you ever buy one from them and you get one of those books, you'll find that they are presented with an additional backing board to stop any damage to the book. This is another one of those near mint issue 272, first appearance of Shotgun. Another one of these near mint, issue 273, issue 274, which is a near mint minus, and then a Captain America appearance in Daredevil in issue 283. This is a near mint plus. So that's the moderns. I thought that would be a good one to showcase to you. And I did appear on John and Richard's live stream yesterday, which is their members only stream. And we were talking magazines. I got a chance to show some of these off, but I thought I would go through them again on my own channel and as well show you some of the other books that I got and tell you some of them that I actually submitted to CGC directly whilst I was out there in the US. So the first one, which I didn't show to John and Richard, is this amazing Mighty Marvel Comic Convention program from 1970. I believe it's 1975 when they held this at the Hotel Commodore in New York. On March 22nd to the 23rd to the 24th in 1975. And I'll crack it open so you can see just what this book is all about. This has been reprinted in the Marvel Vault book in a very small sort of 8-page format, but this is the original book itself that you could purchase or pick up when you went to the convention. So as you can see inside here, you've got an advertisement for the best of British magazines, and we'll come to that in a minute. I've got a few comics here to share with you from that. An intro from Stan Lee, bit of history on the beginning, which is it's the 35th anniversary of the first Marvel comic, an overview. Gives you a bit of the storyline from the Golden Age, issue 97, Captain America Wants You, some of the sort of sample ads. So you can see here's a lot of history, an article on Conan. Following advertisers are friends of Marvel, so there's some advertising in here. Comic Collector's Journal, Conjugated Bookstore, Tony Esposito. What's new from the House of Ideas? So it's like a preview for what's coming from Marvel. Marvel Classics, so advertisement for the classics. Marvel in the movies. Marvelous Land of Oz, Spider-Man versus the Phantom Burglar. Another story in here. Art Simic, a tribute to Artie Simic. He should be missed. Marvel Manor storyline. Marvel Trivia Test. The bullpen photos, always interesting to see these. Yeah. Let's see, is anyone? Bolstrous Bill Mantlo. There's our man who created and supported the ROM, the Space Knight, Micronauts. Beautiful to see these characters. John Romita, Michelle Wolfman, Gene Colan over there. Who else have we got here? John Buscema, Ron Wilson, Dave Cockrum. It's going back, it would be nice to sort of get these all signed if you could have a time machine. Neil Adams is there. Who else have we got? Let's see. Bob McLeod, Tom Palmer. There you go. Marvel San Diego Con. Marvel at the Con, San Diego 1974. Some pictures from Marvel in 1974 at the San Diego Comic Con. I think there's Roy Thomas there. Yep. So yeah, get nice piece of history to have in the book here, and then there's some more British weeklies on the back here, and then Hulk saying goodbye on the train. So yeah, I'm very happy to get that in the collection. I wish I'd gone. I wish I was 1975. I would have been 3. I would have been there with my pen trying to get all the signatures. But yeah, it's a nice piece of history to sort of remember that and go through that. So that's that one. This is a Spider-Man comic from the UK. This is 1985. This is when they had launched the whole Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And this is the launch issue of the new Spider-Man comic, this was much more, rather than the old Spider-Man comic had been sort of, reasonably, not adult is probably the wrong word, but it was a traditional sort of superhero format. This was much more geared towards kids, and you can see that because it has Fraggle Rock inside. And it came with a series of, so it was an interesting mix of, we're trying to do a Spider-Man comic, but then we're putting kids stuff in like Fraggle Rock. So they clearly hadn't got the demographic right. Whoever was editing Marvel at this point was a little bit off. But what I did want to pick this up is obviously because it still has these transfers intact, which feature Green Goblin, ghosts, etc. And inside this issue, there is an action sheet where you can rub down on top. It's not particularly good, but I will open it and show you because it actually is an interesting one. And you'll see as well this amazing, beautiful art of Spider-Man, which I think, was what this is actually done in the UK. So this is not. It may be a cover swipe, but it was actually a original piece of art that was done for the comic itself. And as you can see here, if you open this up, this is your playset, which you'd put your stickers on or the transfers onto the sheet. But yeah, you've got Fraggle Rock in here. You've got Captain Wally's off his trolley. So it's a little bit of a sort of funny, weird book, Willy the Wizard. And then you've got these sort of weird, sort of childlike comic stories alongside Spider-Man, which doesn't make too much sense, to be honest. But yeah, nice to have purely for the fact that it's got the transfers, to be honest. And speaking of transfers, I've shown this a couple of times now, but I'll show it again for those who haven't seen it. And I think last time it wasn't a particularly clear image that you got because I think the internet in the hotel was pretty awful. So you would have been able to hear me, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to see a lot of the stuff that I was showcasing. So this is issue 1 of Secret Wars, the UK edition. You can see here it's got this amazing one sheet of transfers. Beautiful sheet of transfers here. It's got a little bit of damage at the top here where it's sort of peeled back, but you can see all the characters are in place. Nothing's sort of damaged. It's still attached to the cover with its tape. Inside, you'd have this amazing drawn playset, which looks fantastic, of Battle World. So that's really cool. In addition, the thing that I loved about this issue was that they had this, and I don't think this featured in the US copy. If it did, I'd love to hear in the comments or in the chat. But they'd have this like Daily Bugle story page where they talk through Spider-Man missing, Vision, the Avengers missing, etc. But yeah, this was really nice to have. What was interesting is it does have, this may have come from the US because it does have like 30 cents. And so again, interesting to see if this was actually in the US comic or whether it was just exclusive for the UK. The other thing that was in here, you'll tend to find these amazing secret artist portfolios where you get a secret artist that would draw parodies of Marvel heroes. So in this one, you get Thor, and I'll pull that one up so you can see here. Got a beautiful Howard the Duck helmet. Got Hagar the Horrible, who was a character in the UK at the back, a cartoon character in the UK, I think in the Sun, newspaper. But there is an interesting picture of Thor there. What's great about this issue is that you also get none of this blue Galactus nonsense. You get the original purple and blue Galactus. So that's at least one thing. I think you're not too sure. And then the other one that's really good about this is it came with its free, and I'll move this out of the way so you can see this more clearly because it is a stunning piece of memorabilia, is the free competition for Secret Wars where you could win the whole team of heroes and villains figures wise. And as you can see here, this is not filled out, beautiful condition. Really happy showcasing all of the figures that you got for the Secret Wars Mattel line. So really happy with that. What's Dino say? Let's have a quick look. Wonder if this adhesive leak through on the cover would get dinged by CGC if they slap it. I suspect so. I suspect so. I mean, there's no, I would personally see them doing that. Again, it's one of those, do I grade it? Is that going to degrade the book over time? Who knows? You can never tell. I suspect tape is a dreadful thing at the best of times, right? So I suspect they would definitely ding it because as you can see from that cover there, it is showing through into that sort of first page of that story page. So next up, let's look at these. So you might recognize this cover. These books I picked up there actually from Alan Murray, the art director of Marvel UK's personal collection. So this is a batch of Dracula Lives. I've got some more coming back to me. I've got I think almost the entire run of the Dracula Lives Marvel UK title coming back to me. But this, I separated these out because I was considering submitting this to CGC. And this one is an excellent condition. This is in Marvel UK continuity. This is technically the second appearance of Blade, the Vampire Slayer. However, it is the first cover. So issue 21 is the first appearance of Blade. It's the second appearance of Blade in the Dracula Lives title. And what you got in Dracula Lives is you got, I think, Werewolf by Night, Frankenstein, and Dracula Lives story titles. So it was a pretty well-rounded horror title for the UK. You got all three in one book. But yeah, that's the first, as I say, what should be, and most people go hunting for this one, what should be the first appearance of Blade in Marvel UK isn't. This is the first appearance of Blade in Marvel UK. This is issue 20, and you can see here, beware Dracula, beware the coming of Blade. And again, we'll crack this one open so you can have a quick look at just how this was represented here. So you get this beautiful sort of advertisement for the Fabulous Fantastic Four Treasury Edition on the left, and then you get the first appearance of Blade on this story. And again, you'd get a lot of themed horror content. There's a story about the Wolfman here in terms of the movies and the monsters. You get this blown up shot of Frankenstein. So again, there's some fascinating sort of stories in here. But yeah, great to have the first Blade in Marvel UK. And then to top off the Dracula Lives books, I also managed to secure a copy of Dracula Lives #1. Now, unfortunately, it does have the poster, which was free with this book when it first launched. And this book is in okay condition. So it does have the poster. However, the poster is not. It wasn't. Actually, so that's not a bad thing. So the poster was always loose, it seems, because there are no staple marks on this thing. But give you a sense of just how stunning that poster is. Look at that. So there's a great Dracula Lives poster there. As you can see, it's in pretty good shape. So I'll be holding on to that. Not sure I'll grade this one, especially given the condition of the book. May hold on to the poster if I can find another copy of Tomb of Dracula Lives 1, then I might sort of resubmit that with this poster inside. But beautiful, got Werewolf by Night in there, Dracula, and a message from Stan Lee on the front. Dracula, the very sound of his name sends shivers up your spine. Personal message from Stan Lee. So great to have that. Now we come to a whole bunch of FOOMs. Now you would have seen my collecting goals for 2024. FOOM was well and truly on that list in terms of trying to able to secure a full run of the FOOM books, which I think from memory ran for 22 issues. I may have to be corrected on that, but it ran somewhere in the 20s. First 4 issues, I think, or first 3 issues or 4 issues were produced by Jim Steranko, and you can see that in these books here. Now, these are not in super great shape, but just to be able to have them and read them and go through the FOOM books, I will be looking to upgrade these as I go. I have a couple of them that I submitted to CGC on the way through Baltimore and San Francisco. And that includes FOOM number 10, which is the first appearance of the new X-Men, a preview of them. And then issue 15, which is the first appearance of Carol Danvers as Ms. Marvel, as Ms. Marvel in that issue, as well as Captain Britain. So those two are on their way to CGC for grading. But the rest of the FOOMs that I have are here now. So you can see issue 1, lots of foxing on this one, but a great copy to have. Issue 2, which features the original or features a Wolverine prototype that a reader sent in, which is arguably, and we'll take that out in a minute. I'll put that to one side to show you. I did show that on John and Richard's show yesterday as well. FOOM number 3, again, you can see Steranko's influence on that. Issue 4, fascinating Doctor Doom cover. Unfortunately, it's covered with foxing. Again, may be able to do something with that. We'll see, but just nice to be able to have that in. FOOM number 5 with a great Ben Grimm The Thing cover. FOOM number 6 with Jarvis Speaks. As you can see here, the quality of these books get better as we go. So I think that the top of the books may have been stored in a bad way, but this isn't looking too bad. FOOM number 7 with a great Avengers cover with the Hulk. FOOM 8, which is a issue that focuses purely on Captain America. This is a John Romita and Esposito cover. You'd think that was a Jack Kirby cover at this point, given the sort of pose, but it isn't. But that was pointed out on John and Richard's Bronze and Modern God stream, members only stream yesterday. We did a bit of a review on that one. FOOM number 9, a cosmic issue. So you got Warlock, Silver Surfer, and Captain Marvel on there. FOOM 11 with a great Jack Kirby cover. Jack's back, so they're celebrating Jack Kirby coming back to Marvel. FOOM 12 with that amazing picture of Vision going through the FOOM logo. FOOM 13 with Daredevil sweeping through. FOOM 14 with Conan and Red Sonja. FOOM 16 with a great sort of comedy sketch image of the bullpen. Really, really cool looking one. Let's just have a look at that. I think it's a gatefold, to be honest. So you'll be able, yeah, exactly. It's a gatefold. So it's a fantastic looking issue with sort of comedic sort of sketch of the bullpen. Some interesting pieces in there. Then the classic FOOM 17 with Stan as the amalgam of all the heroes. That later went on to feature on the Impel 1990s cards, and you would have seen that. That was Stan the Man. But yeah, beautiful cover. Got a little few dings on the side here, but great to have that just as an issue anyway. FOOM 18 with Peter Parker and friends in a sort of Polaroid form. Issue 19, Special Defenders issue. And then I think that's John Carter, Warlord of Mars, issue number 20. So I was super happy to get all of those. I've still got a few to sort of collect of FOOM. Few little gaps in the collection, but made a big dint into it. Still need to sort of get some more higher grade copies, but really happy to be able to own these now and have them in the collection. Before we move off from FOOM, I will showcase to you the Wolverine image and give you a sense of what that looked like. I mean, it's fascinating. It looks nothing like the character that you know and love, but it is a fascinating piece of history. This predates Wolverine, and interestingly, the character design here has a healing factor of sorts. So this was by a young man called Andy Olsen. Never got any credit. And don't think this actually ever been covered by any of the sort of Marvel people at the time. But yeah, it's a fascinating little piece of history in there. The Wolverine sitting front and center in this competition. So yeah, fascinating. Maybe one day Andy will get a shout out, particularly as we move into the Deadpool and Wolverine movie as it comes out. It would be very nice just to sort of, even if it's just, I think they don't want to admit anything because they'll be on the hook then for huge amounts of money, given how popular the character is. And then with that, wanted to share these. Now, these I'm super happy with because I thought to myself I needed to get, I saw these come up and I wanted to start getting the superhero Marvel books, the creature books in particular. What's fascinating is this has been a really interesting journey. I've filmed all of these books and I was going to submit them to CGC, but I'm probably not going to just yet. We'll just see how we go. But I have filmed them just in case I do submit them. But I did want to grab these and take you through because they're a fascinating sort of piece. And all of these, for the vast majority, are pence variants that I secured. So first up is Amazing Adventures. Now this is issue number 6. Now this is the original title for Amazing Fantasy. So morph into Amazing Fantasy. I think at the next issue, if I'm honest. Yes, it did. So Amazing Adventures, this is the last issue as the title of Amazing Adventures. Features the creature of Serpo, the creature who crushed the world. And so you can see you'd get stories by Stan Lee, and the team, and Steve Ditko on art, and you get these amazing stories. So UK price variant of that, followed up closely by Amazing Adult Fantasy. So issue 7, it switches to Amazing Adult Fantasy. Now, before you get started, we're probably not going to get to Amazing Fantasy 15, but as I say, I wanted to get everything probably leading up to Amazing Fantasy 15 for now. And when I saw these come up available, I thought I had to grab them. So they're not in bad shape. They're not they're not falling apart. They're, I'd sort of put them in sort of 2.5, 3, 4, something like that. And which is why I'm like on the fence on whether or not I grade them or not. But for now, they are going to sit in the PC. I'm going to enjoy them as raw books. So Amazing Adult Fantasy number 7. Amazing Adult Fantasy number 9, featuring the terror of Tim Boom Boo Bar. Another UK Pence edition. This one is interesting because it's the supposed prototype for Dr. Octopus, and you can see the form here. Must have been a little guy sorted away in a Marvel office tasked with to come up with a monster, but there must have been, Dino. I absolutely agree with you. Who that was, no idea. But yes, just and again, all these monster titles, you'll see more of them. I sort of like the ludicrousness of the names. And then on top of that, some of the names that then became the names of the main Marvel heroes. And you'll see one of those shortly. It's Amazing Adult Fantasy number 11. As I say, this is the supposed prototype of Dr. Octopus. But again, beautiful Steve Ditko art, and that cover is one of my favorite covers actually, because it's well laid out, very interesting. Sort of gets you to sort of open that book and read through it. Amazing Adult Fantasy number 12, Tale of the Living Statues. Amazing Adult Fantasy number 13, At the Stroke of Midnight, Something Unearthly Crawled Out of the Sea. And then Amazing Adult Fantasy number 14. Unfortunately, that's where we end our run. I didn't get a 15. I am still looking. There's a massive load of Marvel chipping here, as you can see on this book, and quite a big crease. But still, nice to have the issue before the introduction of Spider-Man. We did go through this yesterday briefly on one of the other streams, and it doesn't have an advert for Spider-Man, so that's a bit of a shame. Doesn't mention anything coming up in Amazing Fantasy 15, which again they changed the title because it changed from Amazing Adult Fantasy to Amazing Fantasy 15. What this issue does have, though, is an amazing story about a mutant, and this predates the X-Men by a couple of years, where Stan introduces this idea of a mutant child where his father was irradiated by nuclear power, and they give birth to a mutant, and he becomes so powerful he flies off into the sky, and then he flies up in the sky, and lo and behold, this face emerges and tells him that he's part of a special crew of people, the next evolution in humanity, and that he's a mutant and he can be safe with this other group of mutants. So it's a fascinating story, and it does seem that it has a prototype at very least of Professor Xavier in there. I'll take it out and show you actually, because it's a fascinating strip to sort of look at it and go, well, actually, this is probably the first proper mutants and potentially Professor Xavier in this. So you can see the Man in the Sky story all started with the big bomb. Brad Carter was an atomic scientist. During his research, his body absorbed small doses of radiation every day, not enough to harm him, but enough for his infant son Tad, who could have suspected that a seemingly normal baby would grow up to be a mutant. And then you see a lot of Tad finding out all these powers that he's got, the fact that he can fly, and then he hears a voice in his head calling him. It's time for you to know the truth, Tad Carter. The truth. And there is that prototype of Professor Xavier. You're not alone. There are many of us, many mutants, as mankind calls us mutants, who have powers that human beings never dreamed of, such as the power to make you fly though we are far away. We are the next stage in development of man. We are telepaths, teleporters, mind readers. We are the future. But why are you hidden? Why do you not reveal yourselves? Because people fear those who are different, and humans try to destroy those whom they fear, just as they try to destroy you. But we can do so much for mankind. We can lead humanity to a new golden era. Why don't they understand? They're too savage and primitive to understand. But we will bring you to us now, and you will wait with us. And we shall wait together until the world is ready to welcome us. We shall wait in hiding until that fateful day when mankind comes of age. So you can see that's pretty clear X-Men analogy there. So very happy to sort of get that and see that in that issue. So super happy with that book. Unfortunately, no Amazing Fantasy 15, but we'll move on to Journey into Mystery 75, Lokar, the Bringer of Doom, and the following on with the story of Mr. Gregory and the Ghost. But yeah, Journey into Mystery, again, pre-Thor in that title. So again, I'm trying to build this up now because I think that these books, I really like them. I think Marvel should consider doing something with these guys in terms of turning them into stories. There's so much rich stories in these that they could make a sort of almost mini episodic, like a creep show, but more of a superhero or a weird tales type story on Disney Plus. It would make absolute sense to do a Journey into Mystery or an amazing adult fantasy series where they could do these stories and showcase them. I don't believe in ghosts. This is the one I was talking about, Dino. Thor in Tales to Astonish before Thor appeared in Journey into Mystery. So they used Thor with the exclamation mark. They'd also used Hulk, if you recall. I think the Titan, they used the Hulk in that. Tales to Astonish 17, Van Doom. Tales to Astonish number 26. The Mummy's Secret, Tales to Astonish 31. And then we're into the superhero era with Tales to Astonish 37. I have two of these. I must have foolishly bid on both, or they came in 2 extra lots. So one will be going on sale. The other one I'll be keeping in the PC. But again, really early Ant-Man there against the Unknown Protector. Then we have issue 49. Ant-Man becomes Giant Man and fights the Living Eraser. Tales to Astonish. So this is a UK price range. And then we switch at this point. These were all from a UK auction house. So these are all UK price editions. These are from John at Bronze and Modern Gods. So this is run filler for me in terms of collecting. So they're not, they're all US editions. So they're not from the UK. And they're in much better quality. So John's looked after these. So this is issue 58, The Coming of Colossus. Issue 66 of Tales to Astonish, Giant Man and the Incredible Hulk. So against the Madame Macabre. Issue 68. Fantastic looking book there. Issue 69, Trapped by the Leader in the Lair of the Leader, the Hulk. Great looking book there as well. Submariner, Tales to Astonish and the Hulk, issue 72. Then we switch to Strange Tales. This is issue 128. This is a really, really nice copy. I'm considering sending this one in. John has it as an 85 to 90. It's pretty good condition, so I'm considering that one. And then to close us out, we've got issue 43 of Daredevil, where Daredevil faces off against Cap, and that amazing Jack Kirby cover that I was looking for. So this will be a nice placeholder in the collection for a little while. I'm still looking for a slightly higher grade, but this is beautiful cover. I'm really super presenting. So very happy with that. I do have a whole heap of other books to share with you, but we're out of time because it's sort of 54 minutes. I will probably cover that off next week. I will give you a little teaser in terms of some of the books that I picked up, just to give you a sense of what's coming up next. So next week, I'm going to take you through this batch of books that I was able to pick up. These are very, very early Power comics from the UK where they reprinted a lot of the Marvel superhero stuff. So they're from 1967. Fantastic came out first. It was predated by POW and Smash, where they had Spider-Man was in POW, I believe, and Smash featured the Hulk. But then what they did was they built their own title called Fantastic and Terrific and basically put pretty much everything in there that was Marvel superheroes. So in this one you had Iron Man, Thor, and X-Men. In this one you had the Avengers, Doctor Strange, and the Submariner. Don't have the free gifts, unfortunately. UK magazines, as you probably know, very well known for their free gifts, specifically for the first few issues. What is interesting in this one, and we'll go through it in more detail next week, what's interesting in this one is you have the aforementioned Thor, so reprinting the first journey, that first appearance of Thor. You also get the first appearance of the X-Men. Again, there's a little bit of damage there. Iron Man. But what's interesting with this is they have this amazing strip called The Missing Link. Now, I don't know about you. Missing Link looks very familiar. One would almost say Link is big, Link is strong. Feels like Link is a rip-off of the Hulk. So, again, even though they had the rights to the Hulk, they still managed to create their own character called the Missing Link, who was very Hulk-like, but does transform into another hero later in the piece. So we'll come to that when we go through this next week. But wanted to give you a sense of that. It'll be quite fun to take you through these books. You can see here, one of the things that was really good about these, and we'll take you through these next week, is they had these amazing pin-ups on the back. And some of the issues that I've got suffer from having the covers taken off and then putting the pin-ups up. But beautiful sort of pin-ups that they made from the art that you can see inside the books. But some of it was actually original art that was commissioned for these books. And we'll take you through those next week. But there's one of note, which I believe, I think Barry Windsor Smith was one of the artists on these issues. So we'll dig into that. And then on top of that as well, I'll share some more original art that I picked up on the way back as well. But I hope you had a good time today. I hope you enjoyed the show, enjoyed the books that I had. Any comments, please feel free to add them down below. Love to hear from you. If there's any other books that you want to see or have any information about, please let me know. I've really enjoyed going through these today. And if you can, please hit that like button. It really does help us in terms of getting in front of more people. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. But with that, I will leave you all to your wonderful weekends, and I'll see you on next Monday's Mail Call. I'll see you soon.